And we're finally ready for Game 2 of LGD versus Rising Stars. Very sorry about the delay, guys. Something completely out of our control. Rising Stars, unfortunately, just could not get connected. There were a couple of players that, for whatever reason, their account simply would not connect to the server. We must have tried about 10 times, and finally on the we were getting down to our last few tries before we were going to have to just call it in the interest of time and not delaying our third series. But got it to work, and we are good to go, and I'm damn happy about it because Rising Stars and LGD showed us a great game one. It was very much kind of an old school game, not a lot of ganking and aggression, really. Not that high of a kill count, but showing us some of the new wrinkles the new patch has presented to us, and got to see something that doesn't really make sense on paper. A Weaver beat a Phantom Lancer when the Phantom Lancer was miles ahead. So if you missed that game, you need to go back and catch it now. And I'll tell you what, Lich is apparently pretty darn good in the eyes of many teams. Another first-pick Lich. That's the second time we've seen that this evening. And to break down why that is surprising and why everything else makes sense in the world today, it'll be Ben Merlini. Woo, Merlini, my friend, a little bit of downtime, but we're finally ready to go. Game 2. And you're muted.
Hello.
There you go.
You know now. And I'm starting to realize that. Yeah, first pick Lich is, I guess it's not really that much of a surprise. I'm pretty sure they were probably watching IG versus DK as were much of the Dota world, but Lich very effective in the dual lane. I totally did not expect him in that role paired up with Shadow Fiend in mid. I'll be curious to see whether or not they run him in a triple lane, whether they run him in the dual lane middle, or run him in the solo off lane, like I think is the most obvious role for him.
Yeah, and Lich with the buff in the latest patch, the big thing is he's just kind of guaranteed XP. I like him a lot in the solo role. I like him in being creative in terms of putting him in the duo mid. In fact, I can remember way back in the day prior to TI2 when that was very common to see like bizarre lanes, like Lich Anti-Mage duo mid, and just put on pressure that way. But especially now with the experience being something he can actually soak up with the sacrifice, and granted the enemy can as well, but that doesn't matter nearly as much as the fact if he goes into the off lane, he's guaranteed to get a creep back behind his own tower with just about every time it's off cooldown, and he will be able to find levels that way, and at the same time forcing the enemy lanes to push out. And that actually plays into the other big change, the jungle changes, which, to tell you the truth, we haven't really seen in action, but I think that kind of tells its own story. The reason we haven't had a lot to talk about regarding it is because we've had a relative dearth of junglers. We haven't seen a Nature's Prophet. We saw an Enchantress, but heroes like Shin and Enchantress, they find their big creeps, and they don't really care where the camps are positioned. But stacking and pulling, not seeing nearly as much of that. We're not seeing nearly as much as stable creep equilibrium as we're used to seeing, and Lich, again, benefiting from that as much as anything else.
I think it'd be cool to see some like Enchantress Lich, and then you deny the dark Troll Summoner or something like that after you're done. That'd be a pretty cool strat.
That's a really cool idea, actually. That would be kind of nifty. Rising Stars goes ahead and grabs the Nyx Assassin and the Timber Saw, two other heroes that have seen themselves nerfed a little bit. We've actually already seen Nyx Assassin's nerf on display here today. His skill shot, now that Impale is a skill shot, I should say. We've seen a couple of misses on those that have really had some pretty big effects. A couple of carries getting away from ganks they normally wouldn't have, and Timbersaw again. And we've seen this a couple of times as well. It's not the biggest change in the world, but Chakra mana cost does just mean he needs a little bit more farm, some one or two more items to help out with his mana pool before he can really feel effective, even if he does get off to a good start. LGD, though, going to go ahead and grab up that Razor.
Yeah, I'm surprised Razor has been picked this early. As we saw last game, he's just not good in every lineup. CTY absolutely dominated Xiao 8 in middle, and he was able to pick up the early phase, the early mech, the fairly early scepter, and BKB, but still just didn't have that much of an impact. If I recall correctly, his score was definitely negative at the end of the game, and he just got focused down so easily all the time. And Razor, generally one of the tankier heroes in the game, and you like it if your team focuses him, but not if he dies that quickly. So looking at the side of Rising Stars, they don't really have anyone that's like a good static link target, and I suspect that they don't need to pick any either. They can just go with a range carry. They can go with a highly mobile one, such as Weaver. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see why they picked Razor this early.
Yeah, I mean, when you see a Razor pickup like that, you think pocket strat. You think something like they have something in mind, as in they don't really care what Rising Stars shows them to a point. They're going to run whatever lineup they kind of set out to run. That's the only reason you grab a Razor that quickly. And, Razor does a lot very well early on. He can mitigate damage on mid-game heroes, as you had mentioned. And, it's easy to underestimate just how powerful Eye of the Storm and even Plasma Field can be. We saw that have its own large set of effects as they were pushing down early and earning that early game lead against LGD. And, in game one, there was a point where LGD was really on the ropes. And I don't just mean kind of on the ropes. I mean, they looked down and out. They were looked as if they were getting ready to lose the game and their tier 3s at about 30 minutes in. And ended up doubling that game time, taking it to damn near 60 minutes. And in the end, getting the best of Rising Stars. And, that's something that's worth talking about as well. I mean, from a former professional player standpoint, Merlini, how hard is it to bounce back after such a discouraging loss like that when you led for so long and let it slip away?
I mean, at least they can go in with the mentality that, hey, we still won in like the first 20, 30 minutes. We just need to work on our late game. So it's not like they're at a complete loss as to how to bounce back from the game one, which is the really big point here. It's not like they just got completely crushed. And after that, you're like, well, was it our draft? Was it our lanes? Was it our play? From there, you don't really know. But from last game, it was like kind of their play. Just really started off with the first Roshan, and they're really quick to adapt to that. Enchantress like had a creep there, probably like over like half the time post the first Roshan. So Rising Stars, you can tell that they're really quick to adapt. I think they can capitalize on the fact that they lost last game and probably turn things around. It's not terribly difficult as long as you go in with the right mentality.
Weaver picked up in third position by Rising Stars, taking a page out of LGD's book. Used that here to great effect in a very similar situation here. The Weaver going to be matched up against the Razor. Razor just has a hard time staying on top of the little bug and sapping the energy at once. I'm really like you, though. I'm curious to see what they want to grab out here. It looks like Rising Stars is thinking late game, banning out the Animage. You're going to go ahead and take a Rubik. So Rubik, now this is something that has been discussed previously. With the new patch coming in, there is a group of people that think Rubik will begin to see mid play once again. I mean, you see a Razor, you assume Razor will be mid, so I'm not going to say that's exactly going to be the case. But Rubik's ability, if he is able to farm himself up an Aghanim Scepter, to just basically chain steal spells in a fight, 5-second cooldown only on his spell steal once he gets a Scepter up. Yeah, I think Rubik, even with the nerf to telekinesis, relatively slight nerf, but still a nerf nonetheless, I feel like he does have a little bit more flexibility in how he can be played, usually setting up just as a force support for the last 6 months, really, if not longer. But how do you feel about that? You think there's a place for mid Rubik again?
I think there was a place for mid Rubik before the Ags changed. It's just teams didn't use him. It's just he fell out of favor just because people see how effective he is as a support. So, I mean, it kind of fell off, but not for that good of a reason. I mean, Puck got buffed, but people still use like Queen of Pain, even though Queen of Pain didn't change that much. So I expect him to be back. I don't think he was not viable before, and with the Ags upgrade, I think he definitely is. The problem is he definitely does need some mobility help, though, with the help of Force Staff or Blink, and he also needs Arcane for the mana pool, too. So even with, like, a free-farming Rubik, you're not going to be, like, straight rushing into, because you can't just run around with Brown Boots and Scepter. That just doesn't happen on, like, any hero, to be honest. So I think they could use it. It's good in certain matches. The only problem is if it's very a passive game, then Rubik doesn't really shine at that passive game at all. He really needs to like bump up the aggression. Like, for example, if it's Rubik versus Queen of Pain mid and it's a farming war, like Queen of Pain will just scale a lot better with the items than Rubik. Whereas if it's both fighting a lot and neither team's getting that much farm, I think Rubik does a lot better in that sort of situation. Yeah. And as we can tell, it's really hard to keep up the pressure early game. LGD with that early Night Stalker pick, just able to find that many kills. I think 1 kill in like 20 minutes. So if they pick Rubik like that, it can get punished pretty heavily. Darkseer will be the next pickup for LGD. Not a bad pickup here. I think they need like one more lockdown for Weaver. Right now they only have one thing, and that's Lift, unless Rubik steals another spell.
Alchemy is still available if they wanted to go in that direction. One would think they're going to be looking for a pure carry. The way these lanes are shaping up, I'm beginning to think it's going to be a Lich Razor duo mid with the Darkseer off lane and Rubik +1. Farming out of the safe lane. That would make the most sense. Rising Stars, though, has the possibility to run an offensive tri lane here if they want to. If they wanted to send the Nyx Assassin mid, they could solo farm the Timber or the Weaver, either one, and then send the opposite into an offensive tri lane with Venno +1. So we'll have to see. I mean, Nyx Assassin, Nyx Assassin's fine as a support, but he does kind of tend to struggle in offensive tri lane. His Impale at level 1 just says, nope, never mind. They're going to go ahead and grab a Queen of Pain. So we'll see how...
Rising Stars didn't need to ban out Lifestealer, and LGD didn't need to ban out the Troll. Oh, Sardar, pretty cool.
Yep. Go ahead. You go ahead.
So they didn't need to ban out Venomancer because Venomancer is very bad versus Weaver. It's not good versus Venomancer, and it's not good versus Timbersaw either. So I don't exactly know why they banned it out. And by a similar token, the Troll is going to get kited very hard with Surge, with Lich, with his Nova and Frost Armor, and he can't really go in melee form with Razor either. So I don't think either of those teams were looking to pick up the 5th ban from either side. Queen of Pain, I think, a pretty good pickup. Slardar, very interesting. It's going to work wonders against Weaver, though.
Absolutely. You're talking about lockdown. Not only does he have lockdown, he has True Sight with his ultimate, and he has Slithering Crush, of course, to lock him down, and Bash. And it's been a long time since I've seen Slardar played in competitive play. I can't even remember it. You have to go back to like 2011, I think.
Yeah, we saw him like once at TI3, and they actually won with him. But his ultimate just keeps getting buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed. It used to be 5, 15, 20, or 5, 10, 15, and then like 8, 14, 20, and then now it's 10, 15, 20.
Yep.
So Amplify just keeps getting buffed and buffed. And one of the big problems with Slardar is he actually can't farm that fast as a carry. And you leave him free farm in the lane, like Lifestealer has Feast to help him out with neutraling, like Luna has Glaives, and just Alchemist has Greevil's Greed, but Slardar, he like Bash is just like whatever, and Slithering Crush doesn't do that much damage to creeps, only 200 at max level, so he's just not a power farm by any means. He does do pretty well in like when he's forced to fight a lot, but if it's a farm war, like if Rising Stars had an Alchemist in the safe lane instead of whatever lineup they chose to run, then Slardar would get punished heavily. But in this particular matchup, I think it's a good pick.
Bajau will be handling him, and of course the buffs and it will be that duo mid, except it's just not going to be Razor at all. It's going to be DDC hanging out with Zhao, and we can see, just to prove the point, they really do suck away the experience. Both heroes sitting at 31 XP after that sacrifice deny. But anyway, the buff to him, no mana cost anymore on sprint, so and should be able to, well, we'll see if he should use that. I mean, mana is one of those things you never really looked at Slardar as that being a huge issue for him. But still, just nice to give him a little bit more. To me, that just makes it easier for him to be active and stay active early. You know, it's that one little extra little bit of mana you don't have to spend if you want to start to roam, starting very, very early in the game, say level 6, especially if you're running him in mid, even if it isn't duo mid. But as the lanes take shape, we'll take a look at who's handling who. We'll do it this way instead of my typical 1x1. We got Rabbit on the Razor, farming up against King J. Our Timbersaw, Rabbit in the off lane on the Razor this time. It's seen a lot of Razor play, really, here in the D2L to begin with. Here in mid, DDC will be handling Lich with Zhao 8 farming the surprise pick in the Slardar, CTY. Phenomenal mid player, again, who really rose to prominence due to his dominance of a 1v1 tournament in which he defeated players, including legends like Ferrari. And so he's well within his element here. And then in the safe lane, at least LGD safe lane, we've actually got Darkseer hanging around right now. Looks like he is just trying to help out as best he can. DD is down there with him as well, so very unorthodox laning, just using the Darkseer to keep the jungle safe. He, of course, can jungle with Ion Shell, and Rubik's going to be able to suck some experience up from that as well, but in the meantime, that is allowing the Nyx Assassin and the Weaver to essentially free farm.
Rabbit is doing pretty well on top 2, 4-0. It doesn't look like QQQ is putting that much pressure on him. He has skill level 1 Venom skill. I think he can just scale level 1 Poison Sting and just start harassing him. The problem is Venomancer needs levels much more so than before. Before it was like, okay, whatever, your Venos level 1, level 2, it's not that big of a deal. But now with Poison Sting scaling much better at levels 2 through 4, as well as Venomous Scale not doing any damage over time at level 1, he really needs levels. So I can understand why QQQ wants to pull.
And the duo mid seems to be working out fairly okay. Starter sitting at 8 CS, only 6 for the Queen of Pain. And we see DD is rotating up here. They might try to make something. Ooh, Veno is pretty far out. He is squishy. He will be caught with a static link. The movement speed on DD is so low. Catches them both with a Gale. And sucking off 70 damage there. We saw just how much damage he did to Veno with just one right click. So gonna have to be
very
very
does no
careful.
damage. The Venomous Gale. Usually they're like forced to use a Tango, but DD doesn't even have to use one. I'm surprised that DD ran like right behind him. Like Veno was right here, and then Razor was right here, and DD was just standing right behind him. I think if he circled around this way and doesn't make it easy for him to hit a double Gale, they could have gotten a first blood there with the telekinesis.
Rabbit and DD going toe-to-toe with the duos at top. Down at bottom, looks like Yao has ended up one-on-one against Sylar. Yao working on his soul ring, still has a little bit to go, but not much. We'll have it very soon. And Sylar just continuing to farm away. He's on top of the CS at 14 right now. Zhao 8 right behind him, though, sitting at 13. And, of course, you show us a pocket pick like a Slardar. You got to put that hero to use early on. You want You don't want him, like you said, to be trying to play a super late farm game. It's just not how the hero functions. He works much better whenever he's run out of an aggressive posture. And I like that LGD has a lineup that's going to be willing to do that very early on. All you need is level 6 on Lich. He'll feel happy to fight. Darkseer doesn't need a whole lot of levels to really contribute a lot, as you mentioned. Rubik as a support, just phenomenal in that regard, too. So Rising Star is going to have to be on the watch for when they decide to start to roam.
Yep. DDC and Xiao 8 are on par with CTY in terms of levels. They are both level 4 right now. CTY is also level 4. Oh, he just hit level 5. So the dual mid thing is just really annoying. Like, as a mid player, I know how annoyed CTY must be with half his creeps being gone just from 2 people denying, as well as the sacrifice constantly on his creeps.
Siler just now passing level 5. We're going to see Rabbit make his way down the bottom, so already some lane switching taking place. He's going to go ahead and grab it with a static link. Didn't get a whole lot out of it. Only 14 damage still in that time. Essentially a tri-lane being run by Rising Stars now, as QQQ has been joined by the Nyx Assassin handled by XDD. King J continuing to farm away, sitting at 15 CS, roughly the same as their mid CTY, so he's not in bad shape, but, you know, Darkseer, obviously. Darkseer's a Darkseer. He's going to do what he's going to do.
Oh, they're trying to kill DD on top. He is so screwed if they... Oh, he misses the Gale.
They're going to try to loop around, but DD... Yep, he's dead. The Impale's there.
He needs to spend his gold. He bought 2 TP scrolls, so not the end of the world. He also should have dropped his Fable right before he died and get a little bit of damage on them, but regardless, first blood will go to King J, so Rising Stars off to a good start yet again.
And we see DDC taking the long road around. We'll go ahead and drop a ward down. Just in the shadow of the tier 1 mid. Nice rotation. Nice catch out by Rising Stars. And DDC was really just kind of flirting with disaster there. He was way too far forward, and Rising Stars able to make him pay. XDD, just level 3. We'll go ahead and move towards mid now. He's got 2 points into Impale. Makes it a little bit more of a useful skill. Level 1 Impale really is just pathetic. So always good to get that second point into it as quick as you can.
Level 5 in mid on Slaughter. Looks like XDD trying to rotate, but I don't really think they can kill anyone. It's pretty difficult to hit that stun during nighttime, like when you don't really have vision up the hill. And yeah, I haven't played Nyx myself, so I don't actually know how big that point target instead of unit target is. But it seems to be affecting the Nyx players that we've seen today.
Yeah, it's just I think it's just learned habit. You're used to just clicking immediately, and players often aren't even thinking about where they're going as they try to maneuver after being caught in the back with a Vendetta. But just the pathing, the way it works, and Impale actually, Impale is a little longer than people give it credit for, but it's not super wide. I mean, if you can catch 2 heroes with it, it's considered a very successful Impale in a teamfight situation. There's a reason for that. So we have been seeing players dodge it all throughout the games and the appearances we've seen on this new patch. Yao has rotated at the top, though. He's just about halfway to level 7 in the meantime. DDC at level 5, and Xiao 8 at level 5 as well. Compare that to C2Y, who's 1 level ahead, but given it's been a 1-on-2, that just goes to show you how effective this duo mid has been.
Mm-hmm. And still relatively passive early game, 1-0 in favor of Rising Stars. Looking at the gold graph, about 1,500 in favor of Rising Stars. They're just getting a lot more out of their triple lane. It looks like even with the constant harass from DDC in middle and constant sacrifice too. Sometimes we see Liches actually max sacrifice over Frostblast so you can keep a continuous stream of mana. I don't know if that's going to be the case now after the patch, but it would help if you're just trying to get levels.
Continue to just hang around. Very quiet early game. Wasn't even a gank attempt that brought down DDC, or DD I should say, up at top. Just kind of him being caught out with his pants around his ankles and unable to waddle to safety before becoming first blood meat. QQQ moving around just a little bit. He does have 2 points into his ward. He is going with the 1-1-2 approach at this point. And Rising Stars very content to just let this early laning phase go. Rabbit sucking a little bit of damage from Siler. Got about 42, but in the end, just kind of delaying the inevitable.
See a TP. Looks like Weaver has had enough of bottom lane with all his damage constantly being sucked out. They know that there's a rotation now. Looks like the sports may want to start pushing soon. Yao trying to triple sec this camp. Will he make it? No, he will not.
And Yao just doing a great job quietly getting his farm. He'll have a very quick mechanism. One would imagine that'll be his choice after perhaps grabbing up some tier 2 boots. He already has his soul ring up. And
oh, Yao's going to sneak the rune from Queen of Pain, too.
Very nice.
Oh, is he going to be able to block him?
Nope, not quite. Oh, wound up for the Sonic Wave and thought better of it. Saw the
That would've
animation
been
start.
really close.
Up at top, we can see Rising Stars is putting pressure onto the tier 1 top. No rotation as of yet. Zhao 8 being left to his own devices here in mid, while DD plays a little chest out there along with the Razor. And Rabbit unable to get a good static link off that time. Looks like they're not going to contest this up at top, though.
Yep, King J gets telekinesis on bottom, but he just chakras and kills the wave. So it looks like Rising Stars is again getting the better part of their early game right now. Gold lead should extend to about 2,000 after that tower. Xiao 8 looks like he's trying to go on CTY, gets the amplified damage, but no stun in time. I think they could have killed him if he had just stunned instead of amped. Stun, amp, and then chase him down with a slow. He can't fog you anymore either.
And that brand new no mana cost sprint being showed off. Here we go. XDD and QQQ moving along right past the Radiant side Ancients. They want to try and punish LGD. And tough to do that to a Slarter, though. He'll have sprint off cooldown momentarily, and he, of course, has Slithering Crush. They need to land
and he just salved up, too.
Yep. They're going to go for it. They have to hit this Gale. Oh, there's the ulti, and look at the damage. They have to spread out, but big turnaround there. And, oh, wow, CTY actually ate one of the bounces as well. Really nice reaction coming out of Lich in that instance. There's an impale to buy some time. Zhao 8 will go ahead and turn around. Just so, almost got him with the crush. If he gets
the magic stick.
Oh, man. Almost got him with that crush. That had to have been on the very edge of the AoE on Slithering Crush. Right at the very edge.
CTY definitely outplayed him right there, though. Very nice positioning by him being able to dodge it and still get in a range of Scream. And that's when Slaughter has sprint up, too. I think that Slaughter should have used his magic stick, though. I think he would have been able to get away. If he blinks to catch after him, then Lich can finish him off.
LGD trailing a bit here early on, and we see Rising Stars doing a great job of taking this game 2 under control, much the same way as they did in game 1. They're just going to hope for a better result than last time. But, you know, just having Zhao 8 off the board for a little while, certainly a nice help. King J has made his way down to bottom now. And Yao with a buckler and his headdress up already. Actually, his mech is done. So you're talking about a roughly 10-minute mech coming out on that Darkseer. I think that suits what LGD wants to do here just fine. You draft a Slarter because you want to go push and you don't want that Weaver to farm. And when that mech comes out, really and truly, they can just start to try and 5-man if they want to.
Yep, most certainly. And Xiao 8, I think he was probably trying to go for a Blink Rush, maybe, to catch the Queen of Pain off guard, as well as the Weaver. But after that first death, he realizes that, well, can't save my gold anymore. Going for the treads.
So talking about Slarter, again, you know, Slarter's one of those heroes. You could do a lot with him. BKB, of course, extremely important item for him, and speaking in general. I like an armlet on Slarter quite a bit. Gives him a lot of mid-game punching power, a little bit of extra survivability. In this situation, what direction do you think we're going to see Zhao 8 take?
He can either just go standard drums, and I think he's like very close to max move speed with sprint already. But if he's going to max sprint, then he doesn't need the drums. Drums are really nice though for the HP and the mana. Although I don't know if you need mana so much anymore with the sprint nerf, or sprint buff rather. So a lot of people would go blink, treads blink, and or treads into a. Yeah, I think blink is just a safe build. You can go straight BKB rush too, but you're just going to get kited. Blink on Queen of Pain, Weaver with max move speed on his own, Timbersaw with Timber Chain.
Nice telekinesis right into a wonderfully put together chain of initiation. Rabbit won't catch the Chakram. Now King J trying the Timbersaw through Yao. Yao sprints to safety. Could not have been done better. Oh, the impale dodged. Dodged it completely. They're going to get a kill because of it. Zhao 8 and company, what a vacuum. Got him together. Zhao 8 has 15 charges. He could dive this, and he will. Big turnaround. LGD showing off why this early game approach, grabbing that strange pick and Slarter. Actually, Siler's here. He's going to try to do some damage. And might be able to get Rabbit, actually. Nope. Manages to make it away while the rest of LGD makes it into the Radiant jungle. But just like that, LGD takes a game that looked to be in Rising Stars' favor, flips it completely upside down. We're back damn near to 0. And yeah, Sprint having no mana cost, early mech on Darkseer, I like it. I like the way this lineup feels together a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, the 8-second cooldown on Slithering Crush is probably the strongest part about that spell.
Oh, yeah.
2.5 seconds stun. It also slows after. I don't think that many people know that. It's 2 seconds slow. It's barely slow, but it's still slow nonetheless. I think that CTY also needs some work as a mid player. I think his early laning phase is phenomenal, and that's why he wins many 1v1s and like 1v1 tournaments and why he rose to fame. But in terms of mid-game decision making, he's still like a little bit lackluster. Like there were 5 heroes missing on the map, and he just got tower dove. And if he didn't die there, none of that chain of events would have happened. And similar to last game, he dominated his lane, but the mid-game decision making and item choices still just he needs to play. He just needs more experience.
He was playing back when I commentated the G1 League last year, and one of the problems he ran into in a big way was they had him on carry for a long time. He was known as a mid player, then they shifted him to carry. So he's kind of been a tweener for the most part. He's been trying to fill roles and trying to find his niche in the professional scene. If I'm not mistaken, he's a pretty young kid.
DD is trying to get another initiate on CTY. This could be the next death for him.
And DD, under cover of smoke, setting it up. And CTY says, I'll hide in the trees this time. It's fine.
Yeah, they have a sentry ward behind the tower, and unfortunately no observer ward.
Yep,
oh, they dropped the observer ward. Looks like they may be able to catch him. He has an impale.
King J.
Oh, he already used it.
Cleaned up behind things. And this is getting a little ugly, really. Like, LGD just feels totally in control of this. Mech still available if and when they use it. And in the meantime, all they can really do is just let Sylar split push. Now, Sylar is making good progress, so let's not sleep on that. I mean, let's be honest. You and I both kind of underestimated just how much a farmed Weaver could do in a playing from behind situation last game. But, nice telekinesis. Got him again. They're just blowing up every target they catch. Sonic Wave just mech'd through. They just shrugged that off. Queen of Pain ulti caught 3. Oh, did he? Oh, DD. Up, and they're going to catch Q. Look at that. They're blowing them up so quickly I can't even say the spells out loud. 8-2, and showing no signs of slowing down. Arguably the most powerful spell they have in their arsenal right now is Sonic Wave. They shrugged it off like it was nothing, and then they gave it to Rubik.
Yeah, they don't have any good anti-push except for Timbersaw Chakram, but he got blown up before the fight started. So, like Queen of Pain can't run up anymore because they'll just surge Rubik or Slardar even, or just anybody, and just catch him out with the telekinesis. Rubik has been stealing a lot of good spells this game. He had Shikuji the first time he went on CTY middle. He had an Impale to kill King J right around here, and then he stole Sonic Wave at the end too. So he's just been spot on with those. After that first death on top where he was slightly out of position, he's 4-1-2 now.
I want to make this point, and I don't know that I can make it any more clearly. As of right now, the levels, you look at the levels, LGD has 4 heroes that are the same level or higher than the mid of Rising Stars. That's how effective this team fight strategy has been so far. Slardar has picked up his Blink Dagger as well, which means it's only going to get more effective. But being this much out-leveled of your opponents, the Venomancer and the Nyx Assassin are pure meat at this point. Lich is going to have a level 2 Chain Frost before long. Like, they're just going to be able to walk over Rising Stars.
Yep, Xiao A with his blink searching out for King J. King J so far back right now, trying to block the wave, but if they scout him out, blink, and he is going to die. He's dead.
Yep. See you back at the base. A little overkill.
So much burst.
Yeah.
They can just kill heroes so quickly, though. Like, all these heroes that get caught out, they just die in, like, less than a second. And
yeah.
LGD's really good at bursting them down. Just max plasma field on Razor. If you notice CTY last game, he went a 2-4-1 build with level 2 plasma field, level 4 static link, and level 1 unstable current. And Rabbit just going for the max plasma field because he doesn't really need to static link any heroes. And again, you can see the difference in between like a CTY as opposed to a Rabbit. Just being very effective with Weaver in the late game, and Razor just going a better skill build, 2-0-5 in this game, and going phase BKB, it looks like. No drums on him. I think they need a drums, though. Drums is really good.
LGD rotating back to mid now. And DD stole Shikuchi once again, so another good pickup for him. Used Sonic Wave to burst down the Timber Saw. Timber back up now, but the net worth looking pretty ugly. Weaver's doing quite well for himself, sitting near 7,000 total net worth. After that, it's a total dominance by LGD. Razor's actually out-farming the Slardar.
Problem is his BKB isn't going to matter. Yeah. If he BKBs, he can still get amplified, and if he doesn't time-lapse it, then they can just kill him after that. And if he just does, if he doesn't, and then aside from that, they have the bash if he tries to man mode Slardar, and they have the static link too, so he can't just stay there. So he's like kind of forced to run, and he's kind of forced to time lapse as soon as he BKBs, which is just not where you want to be. I don't really know what would be a better build for him. You can go Lincoln's, but Amplify will take that off, and it's a really short cooldown, so it's not that effective either. But I think maybe just getting a drums and just helping your team out right now so you don't get crushed 9-2 in the early game, may be a viable solution too. But I think that it's not going to be the same situation as last game where Weaver free farms for X minutes and then just comes and crushes everybody. I don't think that that's the story for this game.
Completely agree with you. Another tier 1 tower goes in favor of LGD. They're going to react down the bottom. Zhao 8 is poking his nose around. A lot of personnel here from Rising Stars. DD's there with Shikuchi. And this is going to be a mass TP. And spinning the crush there, and they're going to spot Sylar. He has his blink up in 1 second if he wants to go for it. And DD's chasing him down, and they're going to go for it. Oh, there was a sprint. Turned around. He could have chased him down. Now the Shikuchi
They're still going to chase him down.
Oh, got him with telekinesis. Timed it up perfectly. Can they blow him up before time lapse? They can. Weaver. Up. Now they're not done. Zhao 8 goes ahead and jumps on XDD. Carapace is out. He dodges the impale again. XDD.
That thing's so rough. The point target impale.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Zhao 8 now caught in the chakram, though. They might get some payback. There's a chain frost, though, and not a lot for it to bounce from except Heroes. Finally finds its way onto an Ancient. Sonic Wave does lock down DDD from behind. Yao will be the next to join the list. Slaughter has bought back. Rabbit's going to go ahead and Static Link King J showing off the BKB for the first time. He will get the kill before he can temper chain away. CTY just kind of hanging out, really. And obviously can't do a lot in the meantime.
Weaver dies again. Oh, that's brutal. The dieback.
Up, up, up. Guess what, CTY? Not fast enough. Plasma field. One. Oh, wow. Can he get away? Doesn't
he needed the amplify damage.
Oh.
If he had the amplify damage on him, they would have seen him, and then Razor can just right-click him through the trees during the TP.
Yep.
Well, XDD looking for a kill. He has Vendetta. Only 10 seconds left. Is he going to be able to find Rabbit? He had a ward. He is going to scout him out. He has 1,200 HP with that recent point booster pickup. There is no way XDD can kill him. It's being annoying.
Yep, basically. And yeah, I think anyone who said that the Impale nerf wasn't going to be that big of a deal, I think they need to reevaluate that. How many?
He just like ran around.
Well, it's the kind of thing you don't think about whenever it was, whenever it tracked, is it has a fairly long wind up. I mean, for a stun like that, it's, you can see it coming much better than you can similar stuns. So the fact that it's now, as soon as you see it wind up, if you just change direction 90 degrees, you should be able to dodge it every time so long as you're watching. That's how that works now.
Yeah, it's if you're in melee range, it's a little bit more difficult just because the spell has like a fair amount of width to it, as long as length. But length, it like takes a long time to traverse outwards. But in terms of width, it's still, if you're right on top of him, it's easy to run around in circles though, especially with a hero like Slardar. So Nyx is gonna, it looks like he's probably gonna fall off from top tier support pick, along with Visage too. Although Visage is still banned out.
I don't like the nerf to Visage. Up, hang on, Zhao 8 got behind the wave. Chakram doing a good job. Here's BKB. They're going to go ahead and go for it. And meching through the damage. In the meantime, they really are. Yep, they're going to re-engage. I was going to say they're having a hard time getting past the tower. CTY going to be telekinesis back. There's the crush as well. Beautiful vacuum into the wall. CTY, XDD both in trouble. We're going to see XDD drop CTY on the side. QQQ next on the kill list. King J, though, doing what he can. Sylar comes back out and doing some decent damage. The wall's still standing. Here comes XDD looking for a target. We'll spin the Fade Bolt. And in the meantime, behind it, Sylar will be able to escape just barely. That's a 3-for-2 trade all told. DD still going looking for him. Might be able to find him. Sylar's bottling up. DD went the wrong direction. Now, buy back out of Queen of Pain. She's going to try to track down Yao and Rabbit. Sylar's there with him. Rabbit.
He has the mech up, though. There's no way they can get this kill. CTY, he just blinked too. It's a level 4 blink, but he could potentially die, especially with this reinforcement coming in.
Here we go. Sylar's there. And vacuum back. DDC is right there with him. Sylar actually managed to juke him out that time. CTY still hanging out. Looks like he's playing fairly aggressive. And waiting to...
Oh, he actually went drums on Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I actually saw that pickup. I forgot to mention that whenever I saw it. Hang on, DD and XDD, 2 ships passing in the night, apparently. But...
Oh, they have a sentry ward. Oh.
And DD, engaged upon QQ, will die. Sonic Wave's going to be spit. That caught Zhao 8 as well. And now they're going to try to chase this out. There's a Shadow Strike to slow him down. And thought about using the Carapace. Off goes the Lich ulti. Chain Frost doing good damage. They are going to get Zhao 8. There's a vacuum to follow it up. CTY in some trouble. Can they catch him? Can they do the damage? It's going to be close. Ern got him. King J with the Nyx Assassin, enough to ward them out. In the meantime, Sylar has been getting work done elsewhere, bringing down yet another tower. So even though they're losing in kills and getting doubled up in kills, Rising Stars is showing some signs of life and has turned that gold graph around, at least temporarily. Stopped the bleeding and actually got it to clot a little bit.
The biggest thing for Rising Stars right now is they're constantly killing Xiao 8. He had his early treads and early blink, but after that, his item progression has just been absolutely nothing. He needs to get his BKB up and running as soon as possible so he doesn't have to worry about Nyx Carapace. He doesn't get kited through to Venomancer Sting and Shadow Strike and Chakram. There's all these spells that he has to worry about that sprint alone won't help him solve.
Hard to believe we're just 24 minutes in. 28 kills on the board. Nice change of pace from the low kill game 1 we saw.
Yeah, well, it just like exploded once Slardar got his blink. Or even right before.
Yao has his wall up, just doesn't have the mana. Nice deny from Razor. Here comes Siler. He's going to go in. They're going to end up getting Static Link on. He'll time lapse back. King J engaging in. Rabbit pops the BKB and Eye of the Storm, trying to chase him down.
King J misses his Timber Chain.
Can they catch him? Not enough coming up behind. There's going to be Slardar dropping the hammer on Siler behind that fight. And wow, QQQ runs in, ultis, and gets off the Gale. Caught everyone with it, so served his purpose. The rest of Rising Star is forced to pull back, though. 40 seconds until the Weaver is back up. Taking a look, he does not have buyback. They might go for a Roche. Amplify damage.
Use his BKB. This is what I'm talking about. Like, Weaver can farm for BKB, but it's just useless. He gets blink stunned, he's dead. It doesn't matter BKB or not. And they really have to reevaluate their like early game. Like it's okay if you can carry like Rabbit in the last game, but if you get an item and then it just proves to be completely useless, then your team really suffers as a result because you lose the 5-on-4 in the early game, and then you lose out on the farming war later because your farm gold is just used for nothing. And now Sara has picked up an Aegis, so he should be able to catch up pretty nicely. He has picked up his Ogre Club instead of a Stout Shield, and looks like his BKB will come out at a reasonable timing. King J in the meantime.
Caught out under his own tower. Telekinesis following the crush. LGD on an absolute tirade, taking control of this game. And Rising Stars beginning to feel rather weak. As you set up, now they're going to spot Siler. They've got the amplified damage up. They are going to be able to force the time lapse. So he's going to head backwards. Heard a Sonic Wave somewhere. So DDC.
And he used BKB. Look how scared Siler is.
And they're going to catch XDD this time. There's a Sonic Wave that was stolen and turned back around. And I love it whenever you hear Rubik steal an ultimate, using an ultimate, get a kill, and then he starts laughing. I just think that's such good character design, Valve. Just +1, man. It just makes me happy.
DD is just playing an amazing Rubik, though.
He really is.
Yeah, he's always there for the telekinesis to follow up or to initiate. He hasn't died that often. He has a Ghost Scepter now, actually, and he's just been stealing really good spells, too. If you look at his skill build, he's actually scaled up 2 levels of Null Field instead of maxing out telekinesis. And the scaling on telekinesis is not that great compared to the scaling on Null Field, especially when you have the very heavy damage, magical damage output from Queen of Pain and from Nyx Assassin. And Venomancer, for that matter.
Yep, Veno manages to get himself a mech, so that'll at least help the team survive the mass amount of burst we're seeing come out of LGD. 23-10. 33 kills in a 26-minute game. Nice change of pace. And at this point, looks like they are just settling back, at least for the moment. That BKB is not far from being done at all. Only needs the Mithril Hammer.
And a sight on Darkseer.
Yep. And really, at this point, I mean, the net worth 3 of the top 4 all belong. Jeez, look at the Razor. Razor is so farmed. I knew he was ahead, but he is on top and on top in a big way. He's 3K gold ahead. He's basically a big item ahead of anyone else on the map, including the Weaver, who's been left alone for the most part.
Yeah, they've been focusing Xiao 8 all these fights, but just completely leaving Razor to his own device. And mostly that's just because he rushed for BKB first, Xiao 8, and forced him to blink in.
There's going to be the vacuum back and the Chain Frost. That's going to chase him down. King J will be cleaned up by it. In the meantime, the fire rages behind. Another Slithering Crush. QQQ caught that time. They mech through it. Siler in trouble. Way overcommitted there. Way too far forward. Tried to man mode and it didn't work out. Xiao 8 will lose his life, but it's one he's willing to lose because he comes back up fresh. More buybacks. Rising Stars has got to be feeling so starved right now. They've had the buyback so many times and doing so to not get anything out of it. Buying back just for defensive purposes. And LGD very often pulling back and just taking their wins and going home. Don't know that that's what they'll do this time, though, because LGD is looking pretty aggressive. Chakram doing a good job of warding them off, but yep, they will go ahead and just call it there, and why not? Another big win going their way.
Yeah, Rabbit sitting on 3,000 gold. His next big item is coming soon. Slaughter are very close to his BKB. He just needs 700 gold, and they lost to Aegis. There's no real reason to force this. Siler just keeps dying over and over and over, and he's 1-4-3 right now. Just treads in BKB to his name. They don't have enough damage output out of him. And Queen of Pain's also very underfarmed too, 4, 3, and 5. They need like a sheep on Queen of Pain and like a Desolator or another damage item on Weaver if they want to contest at this point.
Smoke in bottom lane. Rising Stars realizing this game is not far from being out of reach if they don't get something under control, and this is really the best chance they have. Taking a look at Roshan, we can see still quite an amount of time left, somewhere between 4 and 7 minutes before the Aegis will be available once again. LGD recognizing this, though. All pulling back. Now, check that. Zhao 8 going to run right up. And there's the Vendetta. Sonic Wave already spent. Zhao 8 is able to sprint away from the Gale. And a bit of a wasted smoke there out of Rising Stars as they get nothing but a ward down in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, you can just tell the hesitation from these Nyx Assassins, too. Like, they don't want to miss their stun. He didn't even cast it at that point.
Yep.
And he was, like, right up in front. I think he did get stunned, but, I mean, they have the smoke. They're supposed to be the ones getting the jump on the other team.
And here we go. Rabbit leading the way. Siler has his Shikuchi. If he gets spotted, he could get, going to go ahead and take some damage now as they pull back. And XDD spotted, but able to get away. DD not quick enough on the telekinesis. CTY will go ahead and blink to safety behind, hiding out behind the secret shop owner, saying, hey, it's fine. Just let me hide out under the table if you don't care, my friend. But yeah, this is just how much.
So close.
Yeah, how much control they have. They are just really having their way with Rising Stars.
Yeah, they can't even get a smoke ink off, and BKB coming on Xiaowei, this should be probably like a big T2 or something out of that. They can definitely force the issue now. There's no real reason to wait for LGD, but they don't have to if they don't want to, just because they have better late game with Razor and Sora scaling very, very well. Queen of Pain is like pretty much equivalent to Darkseer at this point. Actually, Darkseer is way ahead of Queen of Pain, but you can compare those two similarly. But Weaver is he's like similar to Sora in terms of net worth, but Razor is just a big winner right now. 5,000 ahead of anybody else, including the Darkseer. He was number 2, and looking at his item choice, it looks like an AC next. So they're going full minus armor with Eye of the Storm, with AC, with the amplify damage.
At this point, Zhao 8 is just going to be, I mean, it's going to be ridiculous how much damage he does. And Roshan's going to drop so quick if and when he does come back up. Well, there's no if to it, he will be back up. But if LGD is able to be the team that makes the initial attempt, they're going to be able to take it so quickly that if they get any kind of a head start on Rising Stars, they're going.
Oh, they're picking out CTY. CTY, if he farms his wave, he is dead.
He's hanging out. And let's see. Still just kind of hanging. Got to gem up and trying not to give it away. And that finally does blink away. Oh, he's going to go in for the courier is what he's doing.
Uh-oh, this is really dangerous. CTY has to... Like, if he dies here, that means no sheep. Okay, well, he was TP out to safety.
Trying to do something cute, and you know what? Sometimes it takes little cute maneuvers to get yourself back in control. XDD is under cover of Vendetta now. Rabbit, though, might not be the best target for him to go after. Rabbit is feeling pretty large and in charge at the moment.
Yeah, those two alone definitely cannot kill him.
He will be caught out, but yeah, they don't even try to follow it up. XDD at least gets a little practice on the impale. Maybe feel a little bit more confident with it now.
Yeah, I think that they should just make a custom mod. Practice impale with Nyx Assassins on like moving targets and flying couriers, or I guess things that move like flying couriers. But DD steals the Shikuchi looking for CTY. And that's a complete AC. This is one stacked Razor.
Yeah. Thinking the same thing. Razor now sitting on 23 armor. And just having that for Slaughter alone makes it so valuable. I mean, Zhao 8 is going to benefit immensely from that. It means he doesn't have to feel so much pressure to get a ton of items up now after his BKB. He can just rely on his hero's innate skill set. He's going to be level 16 soon, so he's going to have level 3 amplified damage, which is just going to be sick nasty. And Roshan... We'll find out, along with our viewers, just how long we got to wait for the next Roshan as soon as we see this turnover. They're checking a little bit early, which is a little odd, and I guess they didn't write down the time.
LGD, I think, must be pretty comfortable with their roster replacement of Rabbit or Siler for Rabbit, rather. And I think that Rabbit has been the MVP for Game 1 as well as Game 2. CTY about to die in mid.
Yep, telekinesis, wonderfully chained. And the Hex, just because, you know what, it's fine, don't worry about it. 27-10, and Roche is actually going to be a full 3-minute respawn. So, not that it matters. I
they have a buyback on Queen of Pain, but if he buys back, kind of the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because he's not gonna have any items right now, and they can just fall back and do Roshan. So is it the full 3 minutes? I mean, we haven't seen any of them like close in the 8 to like 9 minute. It's always been like the 10 to 11 minute mark, which makes me think that I don't know. It's been quite. At first I thought, okay, well, it's just chance, but it's happened like maybe like 5 or 6 times now, where it's been 9 to.
I'm learning how to read this thing. Like, you see how there are 3 tick marks here, if the viewers can see? That tells us, like, it's measuring based on 3 minutes or something like that, because we've seen that only once. A couple of times I've seen 2 tick marks or whatever, so it's a really aesthetically a pleasing way to look at it, but still getting used to it as casters, learning how to just glance at it and know exactly how much time is left. And would it be too much to just, there you go. 2 minutes, that's fine. We know now, so yeah, that represents roughly 2 minutes as we see it just tick down 1 minute. So there's 2 minutes, like 1 tick, 2 ticks.
Yeah, Rabbit checked with his plasma field too. Pretty good scouting out by him.
Still no Roshan, and team certainly learning to adjust to this the same way we do. But Rising Stars on the ropes in a huge way, and really at this point, like, it's just so, they just don't have, like, they've got a Queen of Pain, now they're going to force Siler to BKB, and not going to pursue him out. But
yeah, no BKB now. Like, how is Rising Stars going to contest Roshan, and how are they going to defend their T3 once the Aegis comes online? Like, Rising Stars, they must be. They have to be wondering, how do we win this game? It is no Rabbit Weaver, and the lineup's just much better handling a Weaver. I think that LGD may have actually baited them into the Weaver pick, just because they didn't actually ban it out. They didn't take it for themselves. And it seemed like they actually like had a very good solution to it too. Razor, like, whatever, he's not that great versus it, but the Slardar in particular just absolutely dominating him. And the last game that I watched Slardar in TI3, he actually dominated Weaver too. It was picked solely to counter Weaver.
Yep.
And I mean, he's also worked wonders against Queen of Pain too. Don't get me wrong, but the main pick is for Weaver, and Weaver has just been completely irrelevant in this game.
Really has. And Rabbit just continues to farm like a fiend. He's got his Scepter, he's got an AC, he's got his BKB, and he's got 2,000 gold in the bank. And Zhao 8 sitting at 1,600. They're going to go ahead and try. This is really their only hope, is to try and contest this Roshan, scout it out, and get ahead. XDD moves undercover of Vendetta. Zhao 8 right in front of him.
They have a gem on DD, though.
Yep, here we go. They're going to try to blow him up. Sonic Wave spent. BKB's up. He carapaces. And now comes the Chain Frost. Couple of good bounces. Siler laying into Zhao 8. He's going to be able to perhaps outrun it. Yes. And now, though, Scythe of Ice used on Siler. Vacuum back. Weaver's down, and Zhao 8 survives. And in the meantime, the rest of Rising Stars can do nothing but retreat. LGD, guess who came to the party? Big boys home. Let's go have some brews. 29-10 following that, and Zhao 8 will be right back, courtesy of the new and improved no mana cost sprint.
And Sange already on him too. It's just such a rough life if you're a carry on Rising Star. CTY and Weaver has just been constantly blink, stomp into slithering, blink, stomp, or blink, slithering, crush into telekinesis like over and over and over and over. And it's just so frustrating for them. They can't really do anything about it either. It's a problem. Like, they don't have any good counter initiate. Like, especially against BKBs, and they can't get wards up because Rubik has been sitting with a gem in his inventory for like a good 15 minutes. So, like, Slardar, another blink stomp.
And Sonic Wave used by DDC. That's about the third time he had stolen it. CTY going to be next on the list as he's hexed out. Great vacuum brings QQQ in, and Timbersaw can only do so much. The damage output too high. Look at Siler.
Yeah, Siler
blown up is not even the appropriate term. Basically, they looked at him and he spontaneously combusted.
GG has to be coming out anytime now.
Yep, there it is. So CTY the one to call it. LGD was pushed to the limit in their first game of this series against Rising Stars. And, Rising Stars, a game in which they had led for so long and ended up dropping it post 60 minutes. But in this second game, it was all LGD basically from the word go. As soon as Zhao 8 got level 6 on that Slardar out of mid, they never really looked back. And Rising Stars falls in their first appearance here in the D2L Eastern Division, 0-2 to LGD. So looking back at this game, Merlini, break it down for us. Before we jump to our next series, which should be coming up very, very shortly due to that delay. But, again, Slardar pretty much just the counter pick to Weaver right now, it seems.
Yeah, he has to be able to thrive in lane though. Like if he's on a triple and triple lane and doesn't get any farm, like if he can't get Treads, Magic Stick, and those items early, then he's going to be shut down pretty difficult. But I think LGD very smart with the Lich Slaughter. This is the second time that we've seen Lich middle in a dual lane. Second time that we've seen them absolutely crush. Like the 2 games that we saw Lich middle, they just like absolutely owned. So I think Lich +1 in the middle is at least going to be the standard for like the next week or so until teams learn how to deal with it. So very smart draft by LGD. I think they baited out the Weaver pick, counter with their own Slaughter pick. Very solid draft from them and play from everybody. Rabbit, I think MVP this game and last, absolutely carrying and dominating on those heroes, Razor and Meridian Weaver.
Yep, I absolutely could not agree with you more. Rabbit really showed us why. I mean, he's one of those names that when fitting into this LGD team, everyone knew he was good. And it's like, well, we'll just have to see how he fits in and such. Tell you what, he's doing just fine. LGD has every reason in the world to trust him. And this LGD team looking better and better and better as they improve their record and maintain their position atop the Eastern Division standings. 33-10, the final kill score, the official game time, 37 minutes, 18 seconds. Put this one in the books. And looking ahead to our final series of the night, it's going to be good. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, live here on the floor of our downtown San Francisco studio. Our third series of the night, Tong Fu taking on DK. And DK, not exactly what they expected. Came in, faced off against Invictus Gaming in our first series of the night, and IG just kind of handled him. IG looked remarkably good earlier on, and DK did show some weaknesses. But with all that talent on that team and the leadership of Burning, make no mistake, they will get themselves back in game shape, and they will be tested again by Tong Fu again, coming up in about 20 minutes. Once again, I'm Aaron AC Chambers. Ben Merlini Wu, along with me for the co-commentary. You can follow us both on Twitter, by the way. I'm at AC, that's at AYESEE. And on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/ACTV. And you can find links to all my other various social media, YouTube, Facebook, and the rest. And Merlini, if you're still there, my friend, go ahead and drop your links. Let them know where they can find more about you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Merlini Dota, and also you can find me streaming most days when I'm not casting with my good friend ASE, twitch.tv/Merlini Dota.
There you go. Make sure you check him out, especially all you newer players. Merlini just has a true compendium, a truly gigantic stash of educational material he's put together, and known as one of the best educational streamers in the business as well. So again, make sure you check him out, Twitch and on Twitter, etc., especially if you're a newer player. Enough of that. This is the HyperX D2L Season 4. We'll be back in about 20 minutes with our final concluding series of this weekend, or of this play weekend, I should say. And that'll be DK taking on Tong Fu. Stick with us, guys. We'll be right back.